Here's an interesting thing about food. Food is often the messenger, not the answer. When you find yourself turning for that snack that you don't really want, chances are you need something else. Maybe connection, maybe comfort, maybe rest, maybe just a pause. And here's the thing, when you learn to meet those needs without food, then food can go back to being just food. My name is Michelle Shelton. I'm a registered dietitian, and today we're going to talk about meeting your needs without using food. In my last video, we talked about building the skill of getting curious about the parts of you that tend to drive you to overeat. And what's interesting is, as I have sat in that place of curiosity with my clients, things that we've heard are things like, I just want to be cared for. I just want to not have to be hungry. I just want my needs to be met. This is really powerful and important insight, right? These parts of us are serving us and helping us get our needs met. And sometimes that need is legitimately to be fed, to not be hungry. And those are good and okay desires to have. But sometimes the care that you need is not food driven. It's not actually to be fed. There are other needs that we have that drive that tendency to turn towards food, because food is an easy and quick source for relief, right? And so what we want to do is start to get better at understanding the multitude of needs that we have and being that first responder to meet our own needs. And so for this video, we're going to talk about some core needs. There's a lot of ways that you can break this apart or define them. We're going to lean on the work of Dan Siegel because I love the way he coins it so simply. Needs include to be safe, to be seen, and to be soothed. And I'm going to add to sleep. So we have 4 S's that represent the vast majority of the needs that we experience as humans. So let's talk about each one of those in detail and what you can do to meet those needs for yourself. So let's first talk about sleep. Sleep is one of the most important things you can do for your health, and it has a very direct impact on your appetite and hunger regulation and the way that you eat. So sleep, if you want all the details and a deep dive on sleep, you can go. There's a great resource it's a book called Why We Sleep by Dr. Matt Walker. And he will go through all of the details, right, of what it looks like to get good sleep. He talks about QQRT, which is quality, quantity, regularity, and timing. So you need good quality sleep, meaning you don't wake up a lot through the night. You need good regularity, meaning you go to sleep at about the same time every night. You're getting enough sleep, the right quantity. So for most adults, that's 7 to 9 hours. And it's the right timing for your cadence, your rhythm. If you're a morning person or a night owl, sleeping in alignment with your natural rhythm, right? So those are the 4 pillars of sleep. But here's what's interesting. If you are not getting enough sleep, you will start to have some imbalances in a hormone called ghrelin. Ghrelin is really important in hunger regulation. And as our body releases ghrelin to signal that we are hungry and we need to eat. And when we are sleep deprived, we tend to have higher ghrelin levels. There's a direct correlation between hunger and lack of sleep. It also plays a role in insulin regulation. And again, that late afternoon fatigue, right? If you're sleep deprived and feeling tired, you can't take a nap, but you can always go eat, right? So that can be a key driver to eating food when you're actually not hungry. So meeting the need of getting enough sleep is the first S. The second S is to be seen. This is just a basic human need, to be seen for who you are and for what you are experiencing. This is the feeling of feeling connected to another person, right? A safe connection where you can be who you are and be in relationship with others. So if you are feeling that lack of being seen, it may feel like loneliness, it may feel like a need for validation, it may feel like a disconnection from other people. And so as a way to sort of avoid the unpleasantness, those are all unpleasant feelings, right? As a way to avoid that, food is a really quick and easy way to numb and distract, right, from all of those feelings. And here's the thing, it can be a really quick and easy, simple skill of learning to see yourself. So what does that look like? Learning to validate what you are experiencing, learning to validate your goodness, right? Your good inside. Learning to, or noticing your self-talk, right? How do you talk to yourself? Is it the way that you would talk to somebody that you deeply love and care about? Shifting from being that inner critic to being that best friend, right? Best friending yourself. That's the shift, right? Learning to really see your good inside, to validate your experience, and to best friend yourself and have that positive self-talk. That's what that looks like, to fully be seen. And here's what's really cool is you learn to strengthen your relationship with yourself, your other relationships will get better as well, because you can apply that same skill. You will see others better as you learn how to see yourself more fully with deeper presence and deeper love and connection. And then that need of connection and relationship not only strengthens inside, but it strengthens outside, right? And that need begins to be met in a way that can actually be satisfied. And you don't need food to then avoid and distract. Okay, the next S is to be soothed. What does that mean? So when you feel big emotion, being soothed is the ability to regulate that emotion and come back to a place of center, right? Not that we're pushing our emotions away, we're not avoiding them. We are leaning into them and supporting and caring for them so that we can regulate them, right? It's a very different experience. So the need to be soothed, right, is this process of emotional care. So we've talked about this. I've talked about this in another video, right? There's 3 things that you can do. You can avoid your emotions, which we often use food for, to distract and numb and avoid and escape. We can act out our emotions, which is when we sort of believe what they're telling us and act out in sort of rash and unintentional ways and do things that we later regret. Or we can accept those emotions. We can accept them and be with them and listen to them and care for them. So there are a few strategies you can use to do this. First of all is learning to, or using journaling as a way to just understand what's happening inside, right? What am I feeling? What am I experiencing? What's that thought track that this emotion is bringing with it? Brene Brown calls this the shitty first draft, right? This is sort of just letting it be raw, getting it out without necessarily acting on it or believing it. You're just sort of letting it be, right? Journaling, getting it out. And then learning to listen to the message of that emotion so that you can act from the place of wisdom, right? You can act from a place of center, but you've received the message of that emotion. That is what it looks like to meet your need to be soothed without food, right? Leaning in, accepting the emotion, learning to listen to its message, and then caring for and responding from a place of wisdom. The last S is to be safe. We all have a need to be safe. And what does that even mean? What does it mean to be safe? To me, it comes down to boundaries. Boundaries are meant to let helpful things in and keep harmful things out, right? If you think about a house, your house has walls. Those are the boundaries of your home, right? And it has a door to let helpful things in, and it has a wall and a roof to keep unhelpful things out, things like weather or unsafe people, right? That is what a good boundary does. It lets healthy, nourishing, helpful things in, but it keeps harmful things out, right? So the question to ask is, how safe are you keeping your system, yourself, right? Are you setting the right boundaries so that your system can be rested, nourished, so it can thrive, so that your gifts can be honored and used and shared with the world? Those are all fundamental and important elements of well-being. And when your boundaries are so low that those things can't take place, it compromises the safety of your system, which again can lead to food as a way to kind of escape and distract and manage through the chaos that you experience, right, when your boundaries are too low or when your boundaries are too porous, right? So being safe with appropriate and effective boundaries is the final S.